Configure and run Python web server to distribute files. In Python, a web server can be run in two ways. Both ways involve using the http.server module. There's a one-line command for creating a default web server, and it's almost as easy to create a web server with custom functionality. Although in this demo, the web server is only accessible on the local network, it could easily be hosted using an internet-facing service in the cloud or on-premises. So to get started in my demo, I've signed into Kali Linux. In my editor, I have a web server file open. So up in Panel, I'll select my editor. And in this file on line 1, we're importing a couple of classes from the http.server module. We set the server name, server port. Then from lines 5 down through 15, we're basically defining a request handler class to handle, in this case, GET requests. On line 18, we call HTTP server, and we pass a couple of parameters. Okay, so let's go run the server. First, I'll minimize my editor. Then up in Panel, I'll select the terminal icon to open a new terminal. To run it, I'll type python3 web-server.py. Okay, and it tells us that the server is listening on localhost and the port is 8080. Now, if I open a browser and in the address bar type localhost:8080, there's the content that we set up in the web-server.py file. All right, now for something even easier. I'll use a one-liner to start a web server listening on port 9001. And what's more, I'll set it up so that it can deliver a file over HTTP. This can be accessed in the browser or over the network using the IP address 192.168.100.129 and the port 9001. Okay, first I'll make a temporary directory called temp tmp, so mkdir tmp. Now I'll create some fake malware. So I'll type echo malware right angle bracket. We want to store that in a file named malware under the temp subdirectory, so the temp/malware. Okay, so now let's run the web server. So python3-m http server, that's the module we need, 9001. So it will serve over port 9001. Type -d tmp and press enter. All right, and the message returns indicating that it's serving over port 9001. So now let's go over to my Ubuntu Linux system. Okay, over on the Ubuntu Linux system, open a new terminal, and now use wget in terminal to retrieve the malware file. So I'll type wget 192.168.100.129 : and again the port is 9001, and we're serving from the temp directory, and the file that we want is called malware, so I'll type /malware, and done. So now if I do an ls for malware, I'll find that I do have that fake malware file on the local machine now. All right, and with that, we've distributed files with Python web server.